Squeeze. Welcome back to the station or network family. Back in time with another pristine, fine, and genuine new video. This is Brother Henry Hank Soul Conscious, number 4400 or 4400. Positivity over negativity. Remember, if you have a positive channel, station, cause, endeavor you're involved in, individually or collectively, a program or good cause, let me know. And if you like, I'll mention you or do the same as well. I'm always a comment or email away at lowercase ggnewtime at hotmail.com, lowercase henrythehardworker at gmail.com, or lowercase Henry or Hank alpha male 4400 or 4400 at gmail.com. Please make a note of it. Also go to the about and discussion pages to be notified. You could get the URL so you can subscribe, spread the word. Even if this channel isn't for you, it may be of benefit or help to someone else. Also, don't forget to also subscribe to both our stations. This is our relatively new, fairly new big brother, big sister, or cousin station. So make sure you subscribe to there as well. This is the I'm going to bring up this is the URL info for our main Big Brother station that started it all. And then this is the info I'm going to pull up for our secondary station. Disappeared on me there for a second. Okay, here we go. And then here is the info for our secondary station. So now let's get back. We're continuing with volume 1, chapter about 11 or part 11 of The Art of Tung Tzu's The Art of War. Even though it was written some time ago in the past, the main principles of it are basically all about timeless and are still helpful to us in our lives today. Like I promised at the end of this mini-series, I'm going to be doing a review, a requiem, a recap, so that I can explain further how it applies. We're going to pick up about where we left off in section 11, the 9 parts, at about point number 31, and we'll continue from there. Hence, it is not enough to put one's trust in the tethering of horses and the burying of chariot wheels in the ground. Point 32. The principle on which to manage an army is to set up one standard of courage which all must reach. Point 33. How to make the best of both strong and weak. That is a question involving the proper use of ground. Point 34. Thus, the skillful general conducts his army just as though he were leading a single man, willy-nilly by the hand. Point 35. It is the business of a general to be quiet and thus ensure secrecy, upright and just, and thus maintain order. Point 36. He must be able to mystify his officers and men by false reports and appearances and thus keep them in total ignorance. Point 37. By altering his arrangements and changing his plans, he keeps the enemy without definite knowledge. By shifting his camp and taking circuitous routes, he prevents the enemy from anticipating his purpose. Point 38. At the critical moment, the leader of an army acts like one who has climbed up a height and then kicks away the ladder behind him. He carries his men deep into hostile territory before he shows his hand. Point 39. He burns his boots and breaks his boats. Point 39. He burns his boats and breaks his cooking pots. Like a shepherd driving a flock of sheep, he drives his men this way and that, and nothing knows whither he is going. Point 40. To muster his host and bring it into danger. This may be termed the business of the general. Point 41. The different measures suited to the 9 varieties of ground, the expediency of aggressive or defensive tactics, and the fundamental laws of human nature. These are things that must most certainly be studied. Point 42. When invading hostile territory, the general principle is that penetrating deeply brings cohesion. Penetrating but a short way means dispersion. Point 43, when you leave your own country behind and take your army across neighborhood territory, you find yourself on critical ground when there are means of communication on all four sides. The ground is one of intersecting highways. Point 44, when you penetrate deeply into a country, it is serious ground. When you penetrate but a little way, it is facile or facile ground. Point 45, when you have the enemy strongholds on your rear and narrow passes in front, it is hemmed in ground. When there is no place of refuge at all, it is desperate ground. Point 46, therefore, on dispersive ground, I would inspire my men with unity of purpose. On facile ground, I would see that there is close connection between all parts of my army. Point 47, on contentious ground, I would hurry up my rear. Point 48, on open ground, I would keep a vigilant eye on my defenses. On ground of intersecting highways, I would consolidate my alliances. Point 49, on serious ground, I would try to ensure a continuous stream of supplies. On difficult ground, I would keep pushing on along the road. Point 50, on hemmed in ground, I would block any way of retreat. On desperate ground, I would proclaim to my soldiers the hopelessness of saving their lives. Point 51, for it is the soldier's disposition to offer an obstinate resistance when surrounded, to fight hard when he cannot help himself, and to obey promptly when he has fallen into danger. Point 52, we cannot enter into alliance with neighboring princes until we are acquainted with their designs. We are not fit to lead an army on the march unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountains and forests, its pitfalls and precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unable to turn natural advantages to account unless we make use of local guides. Point 53, to be ignored of any one of the following 4 or 5 principles does not befit a warlike prince. Point 54, when a warlike prince attacks a powerful state, his generalship shows itself in preventing the concentration of the enemy's forces. He overawes his opponents, and their allies are prevented, from joining against him. Point 55, hence he does not strive to ally himself with all sundry, nor does he foster the power of other states. He carries out his own secret designs, keeping his antagonists in awe. Thus he is able to capture their cities and overthrow their kingdoms. Point 56, bestow rewards without regard to rule, issue orders without regard to previous arrangements, and you will be able to handle the whole army as though you had to do both with a single man. Point 57, confront your soldiers with the deed itself. Never let them know your design. When the outlook is bright, bring it before their eyes, but tell them nothing when the situation is gloomy. Point 58, place your army in deadly peril and it will survive. Plunge it into desperate straits and it will come off in safety. Point 59, for it is precisely when a force has fallen into harm's way that is capable of striking a blow for victory. Point 60, success on warfare is gained by carefully accommodating ourselves to the enemy's purpose. Point 61, by persistently hanging on the enemy's flank, we shall succeed in the long run in killing the commander-in-chief. Point 62, this is called the ability to accomplish a thing by sheer cunning. Point 63, on the day that you take up your command, block the frontier passes, destroy the official tallies, and stop the passage of all emissaries. Point 64, be stern in the council chamber so that you may control the situation. Point 65, if the enemy leaves a door open, you must rush in. Point 66, forestall your opponent by seizing what he holds dear and subtly to contrive to time his arrival on the ground. Point 67, walk in the path defined by rule and accommodate yourself to the enemy until you can fight a decisive battle. Point 68, at first then exhibit the coyness of a maiden until the enemy gives you an opening. Afterwards, emulate the rapidity of a running hare, and it will be too late for the enemy to oppose you. We're now beginning section 12, the attack by fire. Point 1. Sun Tzu said there are 5 ways of attacking with fire. The first is to burn soldiers in their camp. The second is to burn stores. The third is to burn baggage trains. The fourth is to burn arsenals and magazines. The fifth is to hurl dropping fire amongst the enemy. Point 2. In order to carry out an attack, we must have means available. The material for raising fire should always be kept in readiness. Point 3. There is a proper season for making attacks with fire and special days for starting a conflagration. Point 4. The proper season is when the weather is very dry. The special days are those when the moon is in the constellations of the sieve, the wall, the wing, or the crossbar. For these 4 are all days of rising wind. Point 5. In attacking with fire, one should be prepared to meet 5 possible developments. Point 6, first part of points. Point 6, 1 or just 6. When fire breaks out inside the enemy's camp, respond at once with an attack from without. Point 7, which I guess is a part 2 of this part. It's according to the notation there. If there is an outbreak of fire, but the enemy soldiers remain quiet, bide your time and do not attack. So I don't want this video to be too long. We're going to take a pause there. I will pick up on about where we left off in section 12, the attack by fire. This is Sun Tzu's Art of War, a very powerful series of principles, or part of a book of things to know. Thank you for bearing with me. Peace and blessings, all the best in life. Peace and blessings to every man, woman, and child, every living thing. All the best. Keep in touch. Remember to click the bell button, be notified of future videos. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, think right, love right, live right, reflect right, do right, be right. And I will catch you guys on the fly in the next video. Enjoy the smooth music as we close out. Everyone have a blessed month. Peace, peace, peace.